Hello. 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 Everything working here? How you doing? Welcome. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Day 2 of our Eat to Live 5-day challenge, 4-day workshop. Welcome, friends. How's it going? Say hi to me in the comment section so I can see who's with us. Let me know where you're watching from. Let's see how you're doing. And today we've got a really good one. We're going to be talking about how to get over stalls and plateaus in our weight loss or healthy eating journey. If you are watching the replay, let me know in the comment section that you're watching the replay. I'll try to say hi to you after this video goes on the Facebook page. Hello, Meredith. Happy to see you. Chantal. Hello, my dear. Happy to see you so much. Who else is here? Comment and let me know how you're doing. Chantal's having a great day. That's good to hear. And share this video. If you share this video while you're live, let me know and I'll shout you out while we're here. Hi, Weight Loss Jackie from Northeast Florida. Hope everything is okay down there. Lydia, doing great except for the migraines. Sorry to hear that. Carrie knows a little bit about migraines. She gets vestibular migraines as well. Hi, Carrie. Kim Ritter, hello. Kim McCabe, hi from Texas. Melissa, happy to see you, dear. Doing well. Hey, Deb, happy to see you. Got lots of the family members in here. I'm always so happy to see you. So let me know if you're watching the replay and then share this video. So maybe some other people who that, maybe struggle with weight loss or healthy eating consistency might learn about this too. Because today we're talking about plateaus, stalls, right? And how we can get over those. Hey, Barb from Victoria, BC. Hello, welcome. Happy to see you all here. And if you share this video, yeah, you do. If you share this video, let me know in the comment section so I can shout you out. Okay, so let's get into it. Let me pull up my, oops. That's not what I meant to do. There we go. How did I do this yesterday? It was this one, I think. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so how do we get over stalls and plateaus? Well, first we need to kind of define what we mean by stalls and plateaus. Okay, so we're talking about either weight loss or healthy eating. And we're talking really about sharing with 3 people. Awesome, Lydia. That's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you. We're talking about this comes up so much in the Eat to Live world, right? Because Eat to Live is so different than the standard American diet that we often have things come up in our life that throw us off course. I was just hearing from somebody this morning by email who was saying that they were doing really well on Eat to Live for a year and a half. They lost a ton of weight, and then life came back, right? And then they went off track and gained 100 pounds back, and it's just been really tough, right? And so the thing is, when we're trying to eat healthfully and we see all this other stuff around us, or we have circumstances come up in our life that kind of throw us off track, we need a bulletproof plan that no matter what comes up in life, we know what to do. We have a plan, right? A very simple step-by-step kind of a plan. And it's based on stuff that's within us. It's in our heart. It's in our minds. It's our little hunger system, right? We need to learn how to harness these things so that we can get back on track whenever we need to. So I'm going to talk to you about that today. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing the video. Hello from Sacramento again. Feeling good. I'm so glad to hear that. So a stall or a plateau, right? So this is a little amazing graphic. So let's say you're going along, eating whatever, gaining some weight. Then you're like, I'm going to change. So you lose some weight and everything's going good. And then all of a sudden you get that dreaded stall, right? The dreaded plateau where you're having trouble continuing to lose weight. Maybe something came up in your life and you changed the way you were eating, or you got to a certain point and you just couldn't lose anymore for whatever reason. We're going to talk today about that. Hello, Bernie. Again, glad to see you again. So how do we get over this? Well, let's first define plateau, and I'm going to define it in a way that maybe you haven't heard before. I have sort of a different take on plateaus and stalls. All right. Strange, invisible force. I hear this all the time from people who say, and I hear that in my head too, right? I hear this from people who say, I just don't know what happened. I don't know how I can get back on track. And it's like this strange invisible force is holding you back from eating to live again, right? Or from doing what worked before. Or I used to do eat to live for this amount of time and now I just can't get back on track. I don't know how to do it. As if there was literally like this, like some rope pulling you back or something, right? So it's all unknown. We don't know why. We can't figure it out, and so that plateau keeps going. Right? We just stall, or maybe we go back to where we were, and we start eating poorly again, and we're gaining all the weight back or something. Whether we're maintaining, we're not losing anymore, or we are gaining again, or if it's just about health, right? Like maybe we go back to just eating poorly and not feeling very well, digestion, energy, whatever. I hear from so many people this issue of energy, right? Just wanting to have better energy. We know when we eat to live, we get great energy, and yet we still can't pull it off like regularly enough or consistently enough. And that's really what we're talking about today. So what happens? I have this little point here, like we disregard the issue. So we get really frustrated and we end up kind of just acting as if the plateau isn't there. Like we just sort of disregard it. We go a little unconscious. We're like, I don't know what's happening. And we just decide to not care anymore. We just decide to go back to how we used to eat because it's too hard to figure this out. I don't know what's going on. There's this strange invisible force. I'm just not going to think about it. It's whatever, right? I don't feel like working on this. I don't feel like figuring this out. And so we just kind of let it go, right? And what's actually happening is there's this broken record in our head that's saying, oh, there must be something wrong with me, or I'll never figure this out. Or we go even so far as to say, I'm not worthy of weight loss or healthy eating, or that person can do it, but I can't because of this, this, and this, right? Like I was raised in an Italian family and this is just how I am, or I was raised in this culture that eats this food this way or whatever. It's just how I am. It's how I'm programmed. I'll never be able to change, right? Sound familiar? So what we end up doing is like we're swimming in worry and confusion about why we're plateauing. We don't understand why. And we don't actually take any steps to figure it out. We just stay there, right? Because we have a whole story about it. We have this story in our head that like, we're not worthy of this. We're just not meant to. Oh, I'm just big boned. This is just how I am. This is how it's genetic, right? This is how my family was. This is how I was raised. So we start to make up stories to account for the plateau, like to explain that plateau and the stories aren't necessarily true, right? And really it comes down to, we actually just changed how we were eating, but because it's frustrating and we feel frustrated, and I'll tell you what the actual reason is behind that in just a moment. But we start to create these stories and then we start to believe our stories too. That's the problem. We start to actually believe that those stories are true. And then that is what we're operating from. All right. And then also what happens, oh, yay, Penny Harris just finally got you live. I watch you all the time along with Dr. Furman, but first time for the challenge. Yay. I'm so glad you're here, Penny. Yay, yay, yay. Rochelle says, get out of my head. Yeah, I know, right? I know a little bit about this kind of stuff from personal experience, right? But so we start to make up stories about why it's happening, and we're not really getting to the root of it. Another one that I wanted to mention here was this identity thing. You start to create, it goes along with this story thing, right? So you start to create these stories about why it's happening. I'm big boned. This is genetic. I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy of it, whatever. You start to make up these stories, start to believe those stories. And then those stories start to become your actual identity. And you actually like tell people this stuff, right? Like, let's say for instance, it's been a few years since you saw somebody and you gained some weight. Well, you might try to find some excuses to explain away why you gained weight, right? Oh, like I'm just big boned. Or you might say something like, I'm just getting older. My metabolism is changing. I went on this medication, whatever. I'm going through menopause. explaining this thing away as if those were the facts of why you are where you are. I'm just not meant to lose weight. And you're telling yourself this, and you start to create it's like as if you had your driver's license and it said like, Sherry Albert's like big boned or like meant to be this weight, right? When we start to make identity out of these statements, it becomes harder and harder to rewind that. And one of them that's really interesting is this phenomenon that I see a lot in myself and in my clients, that when we start to get down to a round number or like a 10, right? Like let's say we're 190 pounds or 215 or 220. We have these like numbers that we have associated meaning with over the years. For instance, I had a client before who he was telling me he's since lost 100 pounds using this mindset stuff. So I want to use this example to prove to you that what I'm about to tell you is actually the truth, other than the stories that you're making up in your head. But when we first started working together, I remember we were talking about goals and like where he wanted to be goal wise, whatever. When we first started working together, he was 320 pounds. And I remember having this talk with him. We were talking about like, where do you want to be? What are you looking for? And I remember him saying something like, well, I remember back when I got married, I was 235. And when I was in high school, I was really active and I was like, I think he said something like 170 or whatever. So he's like, if I could at least get to 235, that would be so amazing, right? But man, the high 100s would be, ideal kind of a thing. And so we create these stories around these numbers as if 235 means anything different than 236, because biologically it actually doesn't, right? It's just a story we've made up about 235 being a number that we weighed when we got married. And so now we're starting to see 235 as so far away. Oh, it's really tough to get there. Oh, it's so far away. That's such, and so then the thing is like when you start to get lower to 85, to 75, to 65, you're making up stories about how you're getting up to that number. And it's going to be harder to get past 235 or whatever. When what's actually happening is your story about 235 is what's making it hard for you, right? 235 means nothing to your body. Like your body's not going like, oh yeah, right. That's what we were when we were married, right? It actually doesn't matter. But we start to make up stories even just about the round numbers because it's just a mental thing. Like it's just a mental barrier of like, oh, I weigh 215. It's going to be so hard to get to in the 100s, right? But there's no actual difference between going from 203 to 202 or 200 to 199. It's just a pound difference. There's the body doesn't notice that difference. It's our mind that notices the difference. Okay. So all of these things are what create and perpetuate the idea of plateaus. And I'm going to give you a little bit more detail now. Yesterday, I was telling you we're going to be talking about something called the model. And that's exactly what we're getting into right now. So the actual problem, right? So these are the things that we're thinking. We actually think it's just some strange invisible force that we can't figure out. And that's not the truth. The actual problem is our thoughts. Right? Sort of explaining it a little bit just now, but our thoughts are actually the problem. But the good news is that if our thoughts are the problem, then the thoughts are the actual solution as well, because we can change our thoughts at any time. Okay. So let's talk about how this works. This is now for all my family members who are in the group coaching membership, the family, you guys are already familiar with this, but it'll be a nice little review. Good morning, Con Marie in Australia. Just waking up probably. Happy to see you. So we're talking about the model. This is the model, this weird thing here, CTFAR. What does this mean? This means circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. This is a way of characterizing literally everything on the planet. It's either a circumstance that happens to us, it's a thought, it's a feeling, it's an action, or it's a result in our life. So what we can do is when we put our current situation into this model, we can find out how to get out of it. This model is what we use in my life coaching program, right? I am an expert Eat to Live coach, but I'm also an expert certified life coach, as is, oh, you're on holiday right now. How nice, Con Marie. 8:15 a.m. Beautiful. So as is Coach Nancy and Coach Lydia, we all use the same modality for coaching, this thought model. And we use this because this is how we solve problems, how we solve struggles, and how we get to any result that we want in our life, whether it's a weight loss result, whether it's a financial result, a relationship result, like say we want to improve this relationship or whatever, we want to make more money. We can take any of our struggles and put it into the model and then find the solution for it. It's pretty fancy, and I'll show you how it works. So let's take this model of the plateau or the stall, okay? So we might be thinking, now, the first thing that we do is we say, all right, I'll just explain a little bit about how this thought model works. It is, we have circumstances in our life, and then we have thoughts about those circumstances, right? So the circumstance might be like, I'm in a wheelchair, or I own a house, or there's a hurricane coming, or I have 3 children or whatever, right? Circumstances are just the facts, the unchangeable facts. They're also like if we have a goal, like I'm on a weight loss journey or I want to eat healthier, right? Like this is sort of our circumstances, what we're in, right? And then we have thoughts about that circumstance. A circumstance could also be how much we weigh right now, right? Like I weigh 130 pounds or whatever. Our circumstance could be our particular weight. It's just a fact. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a fact, right? So then we have thoughts about those circumstances, right? Thoughts about the circumstances. And then this is the interesting part. Our feelings result from those thoughts, meaning we have thoughts about stuff, and that's actually what creates our feelings, our emotions. Now, this might be new for some of you. Start to look at how this might be true in your life, and you'll notice a lot of this, okay? I'll show you in just a moment how this works. But so you have thoughts about something, and then those feelings arise from your thoughts. Now, your actions arise from your feelings. Like your actions are, sorry, my hair is getting blown in my face by this fan. Our actions result from our feelings, meaning we feel a certain way and that drives our actions, okay? And then the sum total of all of our actions is what creates our results. Right? So for instance, the sum total of the amount of steps I took on that last walk is what got me 2 miles away from my house, right? That's kind of how that works. So everything that we've done together is what creates where we are right now. But this is what's so interesting. If our thoughts are the problem, they're also the solution, because if we want to get different results, all we have to do is change our thoughts about a situation, right? Now, I'm not just talking about like, oh, let's just do affirmations or let's just think happy thoughts and just be positive all the time, because that's not how this works. The question then is always, well, how do we do that? Well, I'm going to show you. And then we work on this and we break this down in the Eat to Live family in my coaching programs, okay? So let me show you, for example, how this works. You might have a thought in your head, like let's say you're on a weight loss journey, right? You're trying to eat to live. So these are your circumstances. This is like just what you're trying to do. Then now you have thoughts about all this though, right? And let's say you're doing a plateau or something like that, and you think to yourself, oh, I'm stuck. You're thinking about Eat to Live, like I'm stuck, or my weight loss journey is like, I'm stuck here. I can't lose weight, right? Now, I want to ask this question. I'm going to ask this question first, and then I'm going to read Rochelle's comment here. So if we believe this idea that our thoughts create our feelings, when we think, and I want you guys to answer in the comment section here, when we think I'm stuck or I'm plateauing or I can't lose weight, when you think I'm stuck, what kind of a feeling comes up in your heart, right? Like what kind of an emotion do you feel when you think this thought, I'm stuck, like I can't lose weight anymore, I'm having trouble with Eat to Live? What kind of a feeling comes up for you when you think this thought, I'm stuck? And Rochelle says, practicing these models has been huge in my recent progress. It's so empowering to know I can practice improving my thinking, which can potentially improve my results, even if I can't control my circumstances. And that's the whole point, right? Because you cannot control your circumstances. None of us can. These are just the facts of our life. But this is the part that we do have control over. And if that's what creates our results, oh, that's the best news ever, because we can create whatever result we want. Okay, good, you guys. So If we think the thought, I'm stuck, the feelings that come up thinking we're stuck, defeated, helpless, hopeless, resistance, frustrating, discouraged, depression, anger, sad. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to take Lori's here. I'm going to plug this in here. So let's say depressed. Now I'm going to ask you again, and I'll give you some time to answer. How do we eat? What kind of actions do we take when we feel depressed? Or actions don't we take when we feel depressed, right? What kind of actions do we take with our food? How do we eat? Do we prep our food? Do we grocery shop and all that? Do we really put a lot of effort in or not? How do we act with our food when we feel depressed about where we are in our general place, right? We're thinking this thought, I'm stuck, which is making us feel depressed. So what kind of actions do we take with our food? Let's see. Yeah, the model is a very powerful tool. Oh yeah, Carrie, sugar, for sure. That's one for sure, right? No prep, you give up. So let me put some of these in. So you turn to sugar, make yourself feel better. You don't prep. You give up. Exactly. Eat sugar, eat out more. Yep, go to restaurants. Exactly. Now, what kind of results do we get from actions like this? What happens on our weight loss journey and our healthy eating journey when we do stuff like this? We eat a lot of sugar, we eat at restaurants more, we don't do any prep, we give up. What kind of results do we get on these with these goals when we do this kind of stuff? We don't get any results, right? Yeah. We just, we become careless. We buffer with comfort food. Good job, Deb, using one of our coaching words in here. We overeat. We eat foods that bring pleasure. Yeah, Bernie, back to square one. That's what we get. We get the opposite results of what our goals are, right? So opposite results. So that's probably, weight gain or at least maintenance, right? Bernie says, back to square one, right? Feel lousy, gain weight, feel bad, gain weight, your weight skyrockets. Yep. Okay. This is so true, right? This is exactly what happens when we're feeling depressed. We turn to these foods. We don't feel like putting any effort in. And then we get the opposite results of what we're looking for. And what's interesting, okay, now here's the fun part of the model. Okay. This is the part, it blows my mind every time I look at this. What's so interesting about the model is that the result is always proof of the thought. You're always going to get proof that this is true based on your results. So for instance, you're getting the opposite results. What you're actually doing is you're proving that you're stuck. You're proving that you are stuck, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a never-ending cycle because you're just going to continue to think you're stuck. And then, like I said in the last slide, you're going to start to make an identity about that. You're going to start to make an identity about, yes, this is so true. This is how I am. I'll never get out of this. I'm meant to be this weight. I'll never get any lower, right? You start to create an identity out of this, and that just perpetuates itself. And that's why we have so much trouble being consistent. That's why we have so much trouble losing weight for the long term, because we let the thoughts set in. Now, here's the really interesting part that I want to show you. This part, okay, let's start from here. So doing all of these actions, or like not doing some of these actions, right? Not prepping, eating a ton of sugar, eating junk, going to restaurants, giving up. According to this model, and I asked you this and you responded, according to this model, you did all this stuff because you were depressed, right? Because you felt hopeless about this situation. But you felt hopeless because of the way you were thinking about it, right? You felt depressed because you were thinking you were stuck. That's the only reason you felt depressed, not because you'll never lose weight, or it's genetic, or it's too hard for you, or it's because of menopause, or this, or this, or this, or this. It's none of the circumstances that actually caused the sugar, right? What actually caused the sugar eating was what you were thinking about your journey, because you were thinking, oh, I'm stuck. There's this strange invisible force. I don't understand what's happening. When we feel hopeless, when we feel like there's no other option, we are going to act accordingly. We're going to act in a very hopeless kind of way, right? We're going to overeat, we're going to eat sugar, we're going to do this. But it's not, this is not an actual true statement. This is just a thought that comes in our head. It's when we believe that thought, I actually am stuck, like I actually have a rope around my body that's, pulling me back, kind of a thing on my Eat to Live journey. It's when we actually believe that story about ourselves that we overeat. Now, let's look at a different example and see how this might be different. So, I want you guys to tell me, yeah, gain weight, self-fulfilling prophecy, exactly. So I want you guys to tell me, we're going to do a different model, and I'm going to just use a different thought. So we have the same exact circumstance, okay? Weight loss journey, Eat to Live. Instead of thinking I'm stuck, we think this thought. There must be a solution. Okay. This thought is actually not that hard to come to. It's not like I'm just telling you this affirmation of like, oh yes, I can lose weight easily, right? Like that's not what I'm telling you to think. I can lose weight easily. This thought right here is not a believable thought right now because it doesn't feel easy. So this isn't going to work to make you feel better. But this one, which leaves a little bit more room for hope, or it's like I just haven't figured this out yet, right? Like even that thought is better than this one. Like this one is terrible. I can lose weight easily. You're not going to believe that one. So you're not going to do these affirmations. It doesn't work. You do affirmations like 1 billion times over the course of however many years to change your thoughts. But what you really want to be doing here is finding a thought that you can believe now that propels you forward. Now, let me show you how this works. So you have this thought, there must be a solution. And maybe the thought is even a little bit less hopeful. Maybe it's like, there must be a solution. I just haven't found it yet. Okay, so maybe this is your thought right here. There must be a solution to this. I just haven't found it yet. What kind of a feeling comes up for you when you think this thought? I want you to tell me in the comment section. When you think this thought, there must be a solution. I just haven't found it yet. What feeling, what emotion comes up for you when you think that thought? There must be a solution for this. I just haven't found it yet. There's always a delay here, the comments coming through. What kind of an emotion do you feel when you think the thought, there must be a solution, I just haven't found it yet? Wow, yeah. Everyone's saying hopeful, hope, curious, hopeful, hope, curiosity, confusion, confusion, sure. But curiosity, like there must be a solution. I just haven't found it yet, right? I feel curious. So it causes an opening, and I'll show you how this happens. So let's say you come from a place of, everyone was saying hopeful, curious. Now, what type of way do you act with food when you're feeling hopeful and curious, right? Like let's say you just found Eat to Live or something. When you were hopeful and curious about Eat to Live, what did you do? Right? When you found a new diet style that you wanted to follow, what did you do? What kind of actions did you take with your food when you were feeling hopeful and curious? What type of, right, empowered, good, hopeful, feel curious. So what kind of actions do you take with your food when you're feeling hopeful and curious? Tell me what kind of actions you take. Yeah, okay, courage to try new things. That's cool. Okay, so let's take these out and let's say instead our actions are try new things. What else do we have? Read about it. Yep, read about it. Read more, right? Educate yourself. Make a plan. Yeah, making a plan, prepping, healthy food, etc. Now, here's the fun part. What kind of results do we get when we do this kind of stuff? Try new things, make a plan, prep healthy food. What kind of results do we get with our weight loss and healthy eating journey when these are our actions? The sum of our actions is trying new things, educating, making a plan, prepping. What do we get out of that? Yeah, we research more, we study and plan. What kind of results do we get with our weight loss journey or our eat to live journey? Consistency or weight loss, perhaps when we're doing this kind of stuff, making a plan, prepping. We move towards our goals. We find out what works for us. Right, right. Exactly. Find out what works for us, move towards goals. So there's like progress, right? Move towards goals. Find what works for us. Feel healthier, more proud. Discovery, really great. Yep, discovery. We have either a loss or maintenance, right? Because we are still doing things that are healthy for us. We're prepping our food, we're trying new things. Weight loss, possibly. And Rochelle says, whenever I get better educated, it tends to increase my motivation because I feel more encouraged to act on the new information, right? So when we're coming from this place of curiosity and hope, we're more likely, I just love this one, we're more likely to try new things. And trying new things is how we learn anything, right? Like we want to learn to play the piano. We're not going to do it by sitting on the TV, right? We got to try something new, research stuff, educate ourselves, make a plan. Now look at the difference between these two models, right? So one model is stuck in, literally stuck, right? One model is stuck. You're just like stuck, you're stagnant, you're feeling depressed. So you turn to sugar and these things, you give up, you go unconscious, you don't care, right? And the results that you get out of that are weight gain, probably, or at least weight maintenance, and then no consistency with Eat to Live. Now, this other model, which is available to you in the same exact moment, so you can be thinking to yourself, I'm stuck. And then you can go, wait a minute, actually, I'm not going to think I'm stuck. I'm going to think that there is a solution. I just haven't found it yet, right? I'm on my way. I'm going to be thinking something like, this is part of the process, or I'm on my way, right? When we think these things, we create a little bit more hopefulness. We create a little bit more action, motivation. And that's what gets us there. Now, notice I didn't say like that thought, which was, I can, I can lose weight really easily, right? Because first of all, you don't believe that thought. So you can't flip to it in that moment. You can't fully embody that thought, right? And when you try to think a thought like that, it's only going to discourage you, which makes it worse. We need to, what we're looking for is like this curiosity, right? We're looking for hopefulness. We're looking for, and we talk about this a lot in the family as well, calm, like confidence. Note, I want you to note that I didn't say that the results, and this is what I want you to, this is really big because you guys came up with this. The results were not perfection, okay? We did not have perfection here, which is what we're all looking for. We're all trying to be perfect and get this 100%. I didn't say that our results were going to be perfection, right? That's not actually what's useful. What's actually useful is progress, moving towards our goals, finding what works for us in our particular life. Not like exactly what someone else says, right? That's not what we're going for here. What we're looking for is just forward motion, because that's what creates consistency. Whatever that version of progress and moving forward is for us, that's what we're looking for, right? Yeah. And you get stuck in that self-fulfilling prophecy, right? That's a never-ending cycle. That's why so many of us stay stuck at where we are for so many years. You don't want to tell yourself things you don't believe, because then you'll just end up arguing with yourself, right? And then you're sitting here having an argument with yourself and you're not actually doing what it takes to create hopefulness, curiosity, calm, confidence. Like, I know I'll figure this out at some point. I don't have to have it all figured out right now. Or like, why am I in such a hurry? Asking ourselves these questions is really important. Now, yes. Okay. So what is the solution to this? How do we actually do this, right? What is this process here? It's we always talk about this in the family and my programs, in the family and the accelerator, getting scientific, getting logical, practical, rational. Now, notice this is true, right? Because these feelings, like this is a very depressed place to be from. It's a very negative place to be in emotionally here. But if we get hopeful, curious, calm, confident, these are more positive feelings. At least they're, at least they're the type of feelings that don't cause negative behavior. And when we are feeling, when we're coming from a place of more this logical rationality, kind of like a scientific idea of like, this is something a scientist would say, right? There must be a solution. I just haven't found it yet. This was something that an inventor would say. This is like, we want to be in this energy when we're on our healthy eating journey, right? It's the same as like if you're single and you wanted to get married, how do you find a partner? Well, it's not by being upset about not having a partner. That doesn't help. It makes it worse, right? How do we find a partner? Well, we got to go on a bunch of dates. We got to get out there. We got to go on a ton of dates and meet a bunch of people, right? We got to see what we like, what we don't like. We don't do it by sitting on the couch and being upset about how we're single, right? Or you can wait for it to happen and like hope that you meet somebody. But in either situation, it doesn't help to be upset about it. It doesn't help to be depressed about it, right? I know there's a solution. I just got to keep trying stuff. I know this is going to work out, right? The problem is with Eat to Live, we are taught that it's so, so important to be at that low weight and to eat these healthy foods for our longevity, right? So there's a bit of fear in there. And when we're acting from fear, similarly, when we're acting from fear, like, oh, I might die if I don't do this, or I might die if I don't get to the right weight, when we're acting from fear, that's going to create all of this same exact model, right? But when we're acting from curiosity, like taking our time, like doing what we need to do to make it work and to make it stick, that's actually what creates long-term consistency. So getting scientific, logical, practical, rational, right? Not emotional, not frustrated, not confused. Carrie, I wanted to mention this because I already put this in the presentation, right? Not confused. That's more of a negative thought, right? We want to be just curious. We don't want to, and also importantly, we don't want to ignore it and go, oh, I just don't get it. I'm never going to figure this out. And then we just ignore the issue. So we want to be coming from an emotions that are more even keeled, right? And so how do we get rational? I'm going to show you an actual way that you can do this at home for yourself right now. And then also I want to mention, this is what we do in coaching, right? So you can learn how to do this for yourself, but in order to see much more perspective on this, you get coached on this stuff. You get coached so much that now when you're doing this kind of work, it's so much easier for you to see what those solutions are. It's so much easier for you to see how you're going to get to that result you're looking for. So here's a cool worksheet, that type of a thing that you can do for yourself. It's the challenges and obstacles worksheet. So when do I struggle the most, for instance? So this is the question you ask yourself. And let's say you come up with this idea. Well, I usually struggle around 3 p.m. at work and I feel like I really need snacks, right? A lot of my clients have issues with going out on the weekends with their friends, or when they're home alone, nobody's around, or it's the middle of the night and they're snacking, right? So let's say that we do this workshop. And I really want you to do this worksheet too and list off the times for yourself that are the toughest. Then we go to work at finding solution thoughts, okay? Solutions, yes, but mostly the thoughts, right? Yeah, and KonMari's right. It's like coaching untangles everything. Why does coaching untangle everything? Because when I coach you, I can see it so much differently than you do. And what coaching does is it offers you a perspective that you weren't able to untangle in your own mind, right? You can untangle it in your own mind when you get really good at self-coaching, but typically you need to be coached a lot in order to see how to self-coach, right? So that's me making the case for coaching and joining a program like the Eat to Live family, where you can get coached, where you can learn all of these tips and tricks and how to use the model on yourself and have the model used against you in coaching so I can untangle that stuff for you. And you really do need some type of a coaching to help you see. Now, here's the thing. You can figure it out on your own. I'm going to say that, but that's a long road, right? The fast track is to be coached. The fast track to your results is to be coached. So I can just show you the answers. I can just show you how you can be thinking and how to think differently in these moments. That's the fast track. Get a coach. Like, why are there even coaches? Because you don't know something and you want to know it. So let a coach teach you, right? So join the family, join a support program like this where there's a bunch of other people just like you in this beautiful, wonderful family, or consider hiring a private coach. We do private coaching, or joining the accelerator, which is a small group coaching program that we have as well. Rochelle says, I don't feel like this is a really good place for a support system to kick in like the family. Yeah. I mean, you can do this work on your own, but that's what I'm trying to say is like it's a longer path to do it yourself, right? Or like if you're doing it on your own, it's a longer path. When you get into the family, that's the kind of place where you get on a coaching call. I'm going to untangle something for you in 15 minutes, right? Oh, Rochelle says what she meant to say is it's a really good place. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. It says it's a really good place for a support system to kick in like the family. Yeah. So using the family as a place to create the support. And like, you guys are always saying that I'm the belief ruiner or the myth buster, right? Those are my nicknames of like, you get on a coaching call with me 15, 20, 30 minutes later, I'm going to ruin something you thought before to the point where you can't think it anymore because it's like, and so we're talking about like this, like, something that you used to believe, like I can ruin that for you in just one coaching session, right? This kind of a thing. I can ruin that for you right away so that you can't believe that anymore, right? Yeah, that's okay, Rochelle. No worries. And Chantal says, I did eat to live out of health fears before, and that did not work for me. Now I'm in a different place and just want to add more healthy G-bombs in addition to my ongoing weight loss. Yep. And I have to say, like, that is I believe a big problem that comes up with the nature of Eat to Live because it causes fear automatically, right? The nature of the way that it's marketed, the nature of the way it's talked about, it causes that fear. And we cannot make long-term permanent change out of fear. You can't. It just doesn't work. You might do it for a year or 2 or 3, and then you're going to fall off at some point because it's like running on fumes, right? Like running on negative energy. You can't sustain long-term change with that. You need to change. You need to create change in the way that you're going to do it for the rest of your life. And the only kind of change that you can sustain long-term is based on the emotions of compassion, curiosity, calm, confidence, that kind of a thing, right? Hey, Linda in the family too. I'm so happy to see you, dear. Glad you came on live. Oh, Sarah says, I reveal the truth. That's it, right? Like, what is the actual truth behind the situation versus what we're spinning, right, about? Yeah, realistic thinking. Agreed. So the solution, remove the emotion from it, right? Not emotional. We're not trying to get emotional here. We want to just see it for what it is. And the only way to see what the actual facts are is to get coached on it. That's the fastest way to it, right? Okay, so let's just look at this example here. What we might do, I'm just going to take one of these, this one, for instance. Let's say we're home alone. Okay, so our family went out, or we finally have some time to ourselves and we've got some snacky things in the house and we're like, oh yes, I'm going to eat all the snacky things now to make myself feel better, right? So the first thing that you can do for yourself is even notice that this is a pattern for you, because we have to start with awareness, right? And when we start with awareness, first of all, doing this worksheet is going to help you see patterns. So when do I usually, get to this place of wanting to overeat or snack or whatever? So we notice it's when we're home alone in this particular case, okay? And then we want to start looking for thoughts and solutions. I should actually change this around. I'm going to change this to, I'm going to put thoughts first and then solutions, because in the model, the thoughts are at the top of the model, and then the solutions is actually the action line, right? So I'm going to go through both of these. So Home Alone, the first thing we want to do is notice that this is happening. So, family goes out of the house, you're home alone. The first thing you want to do is notice that you've got that feeling again, like, ooh, I need to be naughty and eat all the things, right? So first we notice, and then we have to see what we're actually thinking. Now, a coaching session can bring this out so much quicker and faster, but for instance, your thoughts might be something like, yay, I'm home alone. I finally get to eat all of this stuff and comfort myself and really, yay, I'm home alone. I can finally comfort myself and eat all the things. Right? So, number one is being aware of these thoughts. What are the thoughts that you have in your head that come up when you're home alone? And then we start to look for solutions to those thoughts. And I mean like solution thoughts. Like, what are the solution thoughts that we can be thinking? Yeah, I'm home alone. I can finally comfort myself and eat all the things. If I were coaching you and this is what came up in your model, I'd go, really? This is the only time that you can comfort yourself is when you have food? And really, this is the only way that you know how to comfort yourself? And really, is that what you need when your family goes out of the house and you finally have some time alone? You actually need food. You don't need rest. Really, it's actually more comforting to eat a bunch of food and feel terrible than it is to rest and get some real rest and not have to deal with all the house things, right? So if we were coaching, these are the things I would be asking you, because I would want you to be questioning the natural thoughts that you have that come up. So first of all, it's like becoming aware of the thoughts that you have, and then how can we think differently about that situation? So for instance, one of the things that I might like ruin you on during a coaching session would be like, how do we get comfort? Like, how do we actually feel comforted, right? And we might go through the process of, what does it mean to you to be comforted? Like, is comfort only from food, right? Is comfort from thoughts? Can you create a feeling of comfort from your thoughts? That kind of a thing, right? And then it's, how could I think differently when family goes out of the house? We might be able to think something like, I actually feel more comforted when I sit down and watch a documentary or some type of a program that I really like. And I use like a really nice, warm, comfy blanket, and I turn the lights off, and maybe I make some warm almond milk or something like that, right? Like, maybe that's a way that I could also comfort myself. Do I actually feel comforted when I eat all the stuff and feel terrible afterwards? That's actually not comforting to me. So we're trying to unwind that set of thoughts, right? And then go, what else could we think of that would feel comforting for us? What we're looking for comfort. So then these are some solutions we could have. It's like a warm blanket. Maybe some sorry, my writing is terrible. Maybe some fuzzy socks. Maybe it's a documentary. Maybe it's like warm almond milk, right? Now we found some solutions that will also create comfort for us, but it's what we're really looking for, right? So this is a way that you can do this by asking yourself these probing questions about what you're thinking. Now, can you tell that a coach might be able to find this much faster than you would, right? So consider doing this kind of work with a coach, because this is how you're going to create faster progress, but not quick weight loss and like, oh, let's just get this thing done or whatever. It's like, this is how we actually create true lasting change. Okay. Yes, Lydia, I enjoy a long soak with a great book. Yeah. Or a bath for sure. Actually taking care of ourselves, right? Like, what is taking care of ourselves? Is it by eating a bunch of crap and then feeling really upset about it later? No, that's not really it, right? It feels good for a moment, but we like it because it's quick and it gives us that quick dopamine hit. Um, but we can create all of the same relaxation and calm and nice feelings and comfort with a different activity, right? An activity that actually, when we're home alone, what can we actually do, right? Um, yeah, Rochelle says, I recently had a major epiphany. I eat crap supposedly to comfort myself, but it only causes me more discomfort physically and mentally. So, what's up with that? Exactly. What's up with that is that first moment of eating it. That's what you're going for, because dopamine is released before, during, and after an event, like a food event, right? So, let's say that your comfort food is some really sugary thing. When you think of having the sugary thing, you get some dopamine. While you're eating the sugary thing, you get some dopamine. And right afterwards, you get some dopamine. So that whole process creates this big, nice, like dopamine sandwich, right? That's why you do it, because you want that high. Because you're not thinking about, yes. So like if you take, if you do like a pros and cons list, it's huge. The cons part is huge, right? But most of the cons come after the event. Almost none of the cons come during and right after the first, bites or whatever. All the cons come later, hours later, days later. So it's that delayed punishment, right? Instant gratification, delayed punishment. That's why we do it, because it's faster to get that gratification. So there's in fact nothing wrong with us. This is how the brain is supposed to work. It's supposed to get us to eat a lot of calories quickly so that we can have that nice, efficient calorie load and avoiding pain, seeking pleasure, right? That's normal. But when we can actually harness that prefrontal cortex to make decisions ahead of time for delayed gratification, and we get really good at that, that's what creates the change. It's just practice, right? We just have to keep doing it. So there's nothing wrong with you. That's how you're supposed to be working, right? Yes, Meredith, 100%. That's the whole point, right? Can this model help with sugar cravings? Absolutely. That's what it's meant. That's what we use it for on life coaching, right? Especially in the Eat to Live family. It's all about using this model to learn more about ourselves. And the way that you actually help sugar cravings, like biochemically, is by eating less sugar. That's how you do it. But how do you eat less sugar when you're addicted to it? It's by using your thoughts, right? So we want to hit it with both things. We want to hit it with less sugar by having less sugar over time. And we want to use mindset to get us to the place where we can have less sugar over time, right? So we put both of those things together, and that's what ultimately reduces sugar cravings over a long period of time. And that's what keeps us consistent, like more consistent with healthy eating too. Yeah. So this is the using coaching to create that, right? So using coaching to reduce initially, and then learning self-coaching as you're getting coached so that you can coach yourself over time and continue to create these results for yourself. Okay. Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. We do have a little bit of dopamine, but it's the difference between the two, right? So like if there's a meal full of sugar and salt and oil, the amount of dopamine is going to be like crazy, right? And you're just going to get a little bit from a nutritarian meal. And the reason the diff um it is the difference between the amounts of dopamine that keeps us addicted to the sugar and keeps us wanting to have that sugar, right? But and the other thing too is like the more we eat these sugary processed foods, the more dopamine we need to get the same hit as before. So that's why we continue to eat more and more and more of it, because we need more to create, so like it's called down regulation. So after a while, you're not going to get as much dopamine. So you've got to eat more. You've got to do it more often, more frequently, so you can keep getting that hit, right? Whereas with a nutritarian meal, it releases these endorphins are much lower, so we don't get like addicted to them, but it's also what makes it tough too, because you're not going to get that big hit when you eat a nutritarian meal. But if you do the system right, which is what we talk about in the Eat to Live family, if you eat when you're hungry, if you stop when you're full, like they say hunger, I think, who was it that said this first? I feel like it is even like Marcus Aurelius or something, like way back in the day, someone said hunger is the best sauce, right? Like this is a very old quote. Dr. Furman says it all the time, and it's so true. Like if you're truly hungry, man, a carrot is going to taste freaking amazing, right? But if you're just eating for recreation and you're not really that hungry, that carrot's not going to taste that good. So you're teaching yourself that um, that these foods don't taste good when actually they do. You just didn't have enough hunger with it, right? So we need to train ourselves to use our endorphins and these chemicals properly instead of allowing the food companies to make us into rabid animals about sugar, right? Just like cocaine. That's right. It does absolutely work, Sarah says. Yep, using the model for this for sure. And the less you eat sugar, the less you crave sugar. Very, very true. And Rochelle says, I'm experimenting with replacing sugar with watercoloring. I love it. And that's such an idea of self-care. Because I know, Rochelle, you've been working on watercolor for what, 6 or 7 months now. And you give yourself serotonin and dopamine by doing these things of self-care. And you can use your own thoughts to release serotonin and dopamine. That's what's so beautiful is like you can congratulate yourself on taking care of yourself instead of having sugar, and that can release serotonin for you. Give yourself a hug, like get a hug from someone else. You can create these things just with your thoughts. And that's what I'm teaching you is that you have so much power between your ears. You have so much power between your ears that you're not even using. And that is the power of the prefrontal cortex, the power of rational thinking in your rational brain to create these results. You're not going to be perfect at it, maybe ever, but you will get better and better and better the more you practiced it. This is beautiful. Con Marie says, I used to eat chocolate every day. Now I eat it once or twice a week as a planned joy eat. Yep. This is part of our program. We do this joy eat thing and these planned exceptions. And this is what I'm talking about with that progress. You might not notice the progress after a while, but if you actually look back and go, how much chocolate was I having before? Oh, wow, I actually am improving, right? And that's what this is this little by little improvement. Yes, you can create your own neurotransmitter boost by working on your thinking 100%. And you can completely uproot your current eating, the way that you currently eat. You can completely uproot that system and replace it with a new system in just a few months, especially if you get especially if you get coached, right? Bernie says, I'm getting a drop fix from these webinars. I missed another one. Oh, Chantal says, but I love the healthy fats from nuts, seeds, and some avocado that fit into this way to eat. Yep. When I start eating more whole foods, I crave less processed foods. It's so true. And that's what Dr. Furman is always saying about it, right? You get more micronutrients, you get more nutrition, you're going to automatically crave less. But for those of us have really strong addictive tendencies like myself, we got to add some mindset in there. We got to also add in some thought work and some actual learn. And what this is, honestly, what I'm teaching you is how to be more disciplined, right? And that's kind of like a dirty word, right? Because some people think you have it or you don't, but you can learn discipline. You can learn to become more disciplined with this kind of stuff. And that's really everything. That is the journey to consistency, right? So let's just talk just for a couple minutes about the family, because I really, really want you to consider joining. We're doing this 5-day challenge right now. And I want to ask very quickly for those of you who are here doing the challenge, how is the challenge going for you? Are you having some results? Are you learning something about yourself? Let me know what you learned about yourself just in this last couple of days. We're on day 2 of a 5-day challenge. So I'd love to hear any of your results. And I want to just talk a little bit about the Eat to Live family and how it can benefit you. I already talked a lot about it on this call, but in the family, you get access to between 2 and 4 group coaching calls per month. That's a lot. And you can get on the coaching calls and get coached by me personally one-on-one. It's so easy to get on these calls. You just show up, I'll find something to coach you on, and we can make a change in something on that particular call. Like I guarantee you, if you get on one coaching call with me, I will ruin some belief that you have now that's holding you back. Okay. So you can do this for a month, 6 months, a year, whatever. I highly recommend a year. It's kind of meant to be more of a year-long thing where you keep using this, keep practicing it, keep working on it, and keep getting better and better. You can get coached. My coaching programs in there, the Eat to Live Academy, the what we call the 1 pound down system, which is my simple 3-step system to lose weight and eat healthy. You learn the model, we'll use the model and all that. And so I want you to just consider joining the family. Oh, this is good, Deb. She says, I love that the challenge helps me know what realistic serving sizes are because it's all planned out by servings. Yep, I think that's one of the most helpful things to do is just to get a visual on what we're doing and see how it feels in our stomach, right? And in the family, then we can work on that more and learn more about what works for our bodies. Yeah. And Lori says, I love that. Find what my comfort is. Guilty confession. I feel I am eating out of secret. Hubby leaves and I feel the need to sneak. What the heck? Why do I do that? That's just natural, right? Like, it's learned behavior. So we've done this for so long. And because we don't want to have any shame around eating, so we hide, right? And shame only exists when you're hiding, right? So if you can hide that and no one can find out, you create some shame in you, but you know you can kind of keep it to yourself, right? We want to get away with it. We want to have that dopamine hit without being made to feel poorly about it. So of course we sneak it, but if instead of just like trying to strong arm and willpower our way through, I'm just not going to eat poorly when someone leaves, we have to understand why we're actually thinking that, why we actually want that feeling, right? So when we start to unravel that with coaching, we start to use these techniques that reverse that a bit, and we'll get better and better over time. Okay. Meredith says the challenge is great. The recipes are delicious. However, the fruit causes a lot of sugar craving. This is the awareness thing I was talking about, Meredith. So good to know. At this time for you, the fruit might be a little tough. And this is what we're talking about with like just learning exactly what you need, right? So what do you need right now? Maybe you need a little bit less sugar. Maybe you need a little bit more vegetables, kind of a thing. So look at that and see what works for you, and adjust accordingly, right? And Chantal says, the chili got me loving beans and lots of hiding veggies again. Good. That's good to hear. That's good. So I'm glad to hear that y'all are doing well on the challenge. I want to just show you a question I asked in the family a while back. What is your absolute favorite part of the Eat to Live family and why? So this person joined the family today, says, working on weighing myself. And then all these things, like, I just wanted to show you this, like the way that we plan out our foods and things like this. Just completed 15 days of weigh-ins. So look at that nice progress. Then I asked this question, what's your favorite thing? This person says so many things: the coaching calls, academy videos, support of like-minded people, Coach Nancy's fabulous recipes, the trust and safety that's been created in the group that allows for bravery, right? So imagine a place where you can get coached, you can feel like you're actually part of a family, people that love you and are supporting you, right? The community, the friends, the family. It's priceless to have a family that supports me on this journey of ultimate health. Even when my biological family is skeptical, I can come to all of you for the support, understanding, encouragement that I need on this journey. Their favorite thing is learning that it's so much simpler than I thought it would be. That's important to know, right? And then having the support of like-minded people when you're the only one in your household eating nutritarian, right? How many of us have that struggle not knowing a lot of people who eat this way? And that's specifically why I created the family. So we had a place to go and I had a place that I could coach regularly and create these transformations for you, right? Okay. Well, look, I'm only 3 minutes over. What the heck is happening to me, you guys? I'm turning into a, I don't know what I'm going to call myself, but I'm starting to really be able to stick to my plans. 1 hour. This is pretty amazing. So that's all I have for you today. This is day 2 of our Eat to Live Challenge workshop. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and coming on this call. If you have any questions or whatever, feel free to ask them in the High Nutrient Lifestyle group. If you haven't joined that group yet, make sure you do that. It's free and it's private and it's a great place to get support during this challenge. And then please consider, as I've been telling you this whole time, join the family on Monday. All right. So today is Tuesday. It's the second day of the challenge. The challenge will be over on Friday. Then we're all going to hang out for a weekend. And then on Monday, October 10th is when the family opens again. We would love to see you in there. It's going to be super affordable. Might as well join and get some camaraderie for a while, see if it's right for you. And it's kind of like join and cancel anytime if you don't want to stay and it doesn't feel like right for you. But I guarantee you're going to learn so much about yourself if you go through the videos and actually show up to coaching calls and things. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Con Marie. I've been in the family since the beginning, since all the way from, and we have a bunch of founding members in here as well, since all the way from launch of January, February 2021. It's amazing how many people are still in there from that first launch because of this community, right? Yes, Carrie, you're so welcome. She says, come to the family. It's wonderful. It really is. It's my favorite place to be. Thank you, Chantal. I'm glad you liked it. You're welcome. You're welcome. So she says, thank you for the revelations. I love it. Thank you, friends. Rebecca asks, how much does the coaching cost? Well, there's different things that we do. So we have private coaching. So that's just one-on-one. We have the accelerator, which is a small group coaching. It's just you and 10 other people. And then we have the family, like I'm talking about. So they're all different ranges in investment. And I'll just tell you on this call that the family is going to be very, very affordable for almost all of you on this call. This time around, we are not using the join fee on this next launch next week. So you're going to be saving $297 by joining on this launch, because I want to get as many people in as I can right now for the holiday season, so that you have the support of your family for the holiday season. You got your friends and you've got coaches with you too. We're going to be putting on a special holiday workshop, a 3-month holiday workshop. It's going to be 2-day workshop once each month, October, November, December, all about holiday stuff and how to stay on track over the holidays. So get a team of coaches behind you this holiday season. We're not going to be just like, just eat salad. Like, that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to be helping you find a plan that works for you specifically this holiday season, makes you feel good, doesn't make you feel deprived, and still helps you get on your way to your goals. Okay. So consider joining, because this is the first time we've done a holiday workshop like this. I'm so excited that Lydia and Nancy will be delivering this. I'll be around to help answer questions and things like this as well, and really give you that support during this holiday season. Okay. So yes, Carrie, been there since the start. Melissa, been there since the start. Rochelle, you're definitely a VIP at this point. Rochelle, have you gotten an urge jar, and are you a 12-month VIP? Because if you are, you get to start coming to those VIP calls. I'm so excited. You're so welcome, Sarah. I learned so much about changing thought models. I'm glad. And yes, Linda says, join the fam. And Deb says, shoot, I joined a month too soon. No, you didn't. You got all the benefit of having been in there already. And that's really, really what's important, is to do this as quick as possible, as early as possible in your journey, and not waste any time, right? Because the stuff that we're learning, and this is also the beautiful, 12-monther, awesome. The beautiful part about this is that the earlier you learn this, the more you can apply it to other things in your life. And so beautiful, because it's not just about food and weight loss, right? That's what's so different about what we do versus what you find elsewhere, like Weight Watchers points or whatever. Like, you can't apply Weight Watchers points to anything else in the world, right? It's only for one thing. But what I teach, this managing your mind, managing your emotions, this works for everything. This works for relationships, jobs, money, food and weight loss, and your relationship with your kids and your relationship with your boss and all that. It works for all of this. So once you learn this, it's best to learn it as quick as you can, Deb, and be there early, so that you can actually make those changes earlier, right? And Melissa says you are right on time. That's exactly right. I'm so glad you love the workshops. And yeah, Rochelle, so now you're a 12-monther. You got to get on those VIP calls. The VIP calls are fun only for folks who've been in for 12 months, because we don't record them. So we talk about some stuff in there that's that's really good to work through it. And and Rochelle says this thought work has changed my life. And that's what I'm aiming to do, is change your life, everybody. So I hope you consider joining the Eat to Live family. It's so much fun in there. There's so many awesome people, and you want that support for this holiday season. So consider, it's opening up on Monday, the 10th. We'd love to see you in there. And that's all I have for today. So Melissa, yay, Rochelle. I know, so awesome. Welcome you to that VIP level. All right, that's it. Happy Tuesday to you all. You can tell my voice is going a little bit, so I got to go. But that's all I have for today. Tomorrow, what are we talking about? We're going to be talking about how to get over all or nothing thinking, and am I nutritarian enough? Okay, so that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow. Hope to see you same time, same place. Enjoy your challenge. I'm going to check in with you about the challenge soon too. Go to the Facebook group, and especially you family members, go to the Facebook group. Talk about some of your wins. What are you any kind of win that you have, whether it's on the challenge or just being in the family or whatever. Let some people know about how awesome the family is or how well you're doing on the challenge. I want you to check in and let your friends in that group know. Okay. So yes, have a beautiful day, everyone. I agree. Con Marie, thank you so much, everybody. And I will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.